before I opened it, it said The Golden Girls. And there was something about the script, that is...
The envelope that changed everything. It was an unassuming envelope, plain and without pretense. Yet, when Rue McClanahan opened it, she unknowingly stepped into the defining moment of her career. Inside was a script titled The Golden Girls, a new concept from NBC featuring 4 older women living together in Miami. Rue had her doubts. Television executives rarely made shows centered on women past a certain age, let alone ones with meaningful roles. But as she sat at her kitchen table, reading with a cup of coffee in hand, Rue found herself drawn into the story. It was sharp, honest, and unapologetically real. By the time she reached the final scene, she knew it was special. She whispered to herself, "This is going to be a hit." And she was right. But at the time, Rue didn't know that this script would come to represent both the summit and the sorrow of her journey in Hollywood. The audition that altered her path. Rue was originally asked to read for the role of Rose Nyland, the sweet, somewhat naive Midwesterner. It didn't feel right to her. She respected the role but felt no real connection. But when she showed up at the audition, something unexpected happened. Director Jay Sandrich looked up from his notes and said, "Rue, I want you to try Blanche Devereaux instead." Rue hadn't prepared for the role. She hadn't rehearsed a single line, but something inside her clicked. Her posture changed, her tone shifted, and Blanche came alive. When she finished, the room was silent. Then Jay leaned forward and said, "That's her, that Blanche." Rue walked out of the studio trembling, not with anxiety, but with a strange, electric certainty. She hadn't just landed a role, she had met her destiny. A golden success with a complicated core. When The Golden Girls premiered in 1985, it was an instant success. Audiences embraced the show's wit and warmth, its willingness to tackle aging, friendship, and independence. Rue, alongside B. Arthur, Betty White, and Estelle Getty, became a household name. The chemistry on screen was undeniable. They made millions laugh, think, and feel. Yet, the harmony viewers adored didn't always extend beyond the set. In interviews later in life, Rue admitted that the bond wasn't as tight as fans believed. They were colleagues more than close friends. B. Arthur, known for her powerful presence and disciplined work ethic, often clashed with Betty White's lighter, more accessible energy. Tension simmered. Rue, who had known B since their work on Maude, often found herself in the middle, the quiet peacemaker. Despite the challenges, professionalism prevailed. They never let friction ruin a performance. And that, Rue believed, was a testament to their shared respect for the work. Fighting for a voice behind the scenes. Rue wasn't just an actress delivering lines. She cared deeply about the craft, the message, and the integrity of the stories being told. But in the hierarchy of television production, her voice didn't always carry the weight it deserved. One of the most painful moments came during the development of The Golden Palace, the show's spin-off after B. Arthur left. Rue believed the series needed a new character to balance the absence of Dorothy. Her suggestion wasn't an attempt to replace B, but to preserve the ensemble's dynamic. The producers disagreed. She later described their rejection as not worth a flea's belch, a statement that made headlines and revealed her deep frustration. Rue wasn't seeking fame or control. She wanted quality, substance, and a show that treated its characters with respect. The creative battles she fought weren't loud, but they were heartfelt, and they left a lasting impact. Living in Blanche's shadow. Blanche Devereaux was bold, flirtatious, and vivacious. Rue McClanahan, by contrast, was private, introspective, and emotionally complex. Yet as the show gained popularity, the line between actor and character began to blur. Audiences, and often the media, saw Rue as an extension of Blanche. Interviews, gossip columns, and even casual encounters reflected the assumption that Rue shared her character's flamboyant lifestyle. In reality, Rue longed for calm. Her personal life, marked by 6 marriages, was frequently misrepresented. The public loved Blanche, but they rarely saw Rue. She once confided to a friend, "People forget there's a woman behind the wig." Even as she laughed in front of cameras, the misunderstanding stung. The contrast between public perception and private truth was a quiet burden she carried with grace. crafting an iconic voice. One of Rue's most brilliant creative decisions came in her vocal interpretation of Blanche. The original script simply described Blanche as an Atlanta belle, but Rue felt the character needed something more distinctive. She drew inspiration from her Aunt Pearl, whose southern accent was like honey dripping off a spoon. Initially, her suggestion was rejected. Rue obeyed and used her natural voice for the pilot, but she persisted. When the show was renewed, a new director gave her the green light to bring back her version of Blanche. The change was transformative. Her voice added depth, sensuality, and flair. B. Arthur later admitted that Rue's accent gave the show its unique flavor. Beyond that, Rue kept every one of Blanche's custom-designed costumes after the series ended. They weren't trophies, they were memories. She later repurposed them for her fashion line, a touch of Rue, allowing fans to carry home a piece of her character's spirit. A hidden struggle behind the spotlight. Rue's smile was radiant, her laugh infectious. But behind her public persona lay years of health challenges and emotional exhaustion. During her time on Broadway in Wicked, she endured severe pain from performing on an inclined stage, which aggravated her knees. At 72, she finally underwent knee surgery, expecting relief. Instead, it marked the beginning of deeper issues. She was placed on warfarin, a blood thinner, due to clot risks. Simultaneously, she continued taking lorazepam for anxiety, a medication she had used since childhood. The combination of prescriptions became precarious. Her anxiety, rooted in early childhood memories of wartime separation from her father, grew worse with age. Though she maintained humor in public, even calling her final comedy tour sit-down comedy, those close to her noticed the toll. She moved slower, held onto railings backstage, and carried the weight of physical and emotional pain. But she never stopped performing, never stopped giving. Her final words, an emotional farewell. In her last extensive interview with the Television Academy, Rue spoke candidly about everything: her castmates, the fame, and the legacy of the Golden Girls. She revealed that she had convinced B. Arthur to join the cast, believing it would be more than another comedy. She acknowledged the tensions between B and Betty White but refused to place blame. "We were professionals," she said. That professionalism, she believed, was what kept the show thriving. Her reflections were tinged with regret, particularly regarding how profit motives had overshadowed storytelling in the spin-off. Weeks before her passing, she attended B's memorial, delivering a heartfelt speech despite her declining health. Few knew it would be her final public appearance. On June 3, 2010, Rue passed away from a stroke caused by a brain hemorrhage. She was 76. Ironically, it was linked to the very medication meant to protect her. Her departure marked the end of an era, yet her legacy endures. Rue McClanahan didn't just play Blanche Devereaux. She gave her soul, her heart, and her truth. And through that, she gave generations a new way to see women: strong, flawed, brilliant, and unforgettable.